Tell you how it was like to sign off an authorized multi-million-dollar engine test. But I'm not. I can tell you how great it is to be an author and a TV host now, but I'm not. Rather, I'm going to talk about you and me and what comes in our mind in the middle of challenges. Fear. Fear. What have you always wanted? Well, for me, I always wanted to be a rocket scientist, but obstacle and roadblocks came into my path where I questioned whether or not I'd be able to do it. The truth is this: if we do not have a way to reprogram our minds to overcome fear, we will never be successful at our own specific missions in life. But there's good news. You must name and reject your fear. You must name and reject your fear. Now, the easiest way for me to tell you about all these three decisions is to take you back in my life. It started when I was 6 years old, and I'll never forget that day. I went on a field trip to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and there it was wonderful. I remember seeing these big engines and these jets, and we went to their mission control room, and it was amazing. I saw these big TV screens on the wall and these red plush chairs, and I also saw pictures of men launching rockets, and I said to myself, I want to be just like those men. Now, I'm not quite sure if you've noticed, I wear stilettos and skirts. I am definitely a woman. And that didn't stop me. I wanted to be just like these men. Now here I am, 10 years old, in the middle of a 5th grade class, and right next to me is a boy who's also 10, and he has been recruited into a gang. And he wears this ring on his finger that he files down so it acts just like a knife. And so one day in a heated argument, he takes this ring and he socks me right under my eye. Now, being a champion, an Olympian, I stand up to defend myself and everything goes blank. I cannot see one thing. I am later rushed to the hospital and I have 5 layers of stitches placed in my face, and the surgeon tells me I'm lucky. Had it been any higher, I would have lost my eye. Next, I am placed into another school where I fail algebra, then I fail geometry, and then I go to a performing arts school and I fail chemistry, then make a D in calculus. There's this man, this teacher, and he says that if anybody wants help for their AP calculus exam, he would tutor them for free. So I jump at this opportunity and I catch the bus 2 hours each way just to sit with this man for 1 hour. And I remember looking at the information and I remember thinking, wait, I can get this. I can get this. I may not understand it now, but I will. I'm not going to let failure stop me. And that was the first time I learned to name and reject my fear. You must reprogram your brain with different thoughts. You must reprogram your brain with different thoughts. You know how you have a computer and it may be infected with a virus, and you have to take the virus off the computer and reboot it so it operates correctly? Well, our brains are the exact same way. What we have to do is take the virus out, what's called fear. And I learned this my first couple of months working as a rocket scientist. Now, I'm going to share a secret with you. When I first started in rocket science, I was completely intimidated. I remember going inside this room and there was around 200 people in this room. And I remember looking around and I was the only woman. And then I was hearing all these words I didn't know. Beads of sweat would come down my forehead as I was hearing SSME, ITAR, RP1, ISP. I didn't know what any of this was, and that fear started coming into my brain again. Then, a couple of weeks later, I had my second epiphany. I remember going into this room, and then I realized, wait, I'm educated, and I work hard at everything I do. I may not be able to make a significant difference now, but I will. So that's what I did. I literally told you must rebuild your brain. You must rebuild the neurons in your brain by taking action. Now, we've all been there. We've had to lose weight, we've had to get in shape, and it's not enough to simply say, all right, I'm gonna get in shape, and then you sit on your couch. You've got to go to the gym, you've got to climb those stairs, you've got to get on a bike, you've got to do something to activate your muscles so you lose weight. Where our brains are the exact same way. The way that we exercise our brain is by taking action in direct opposition to our fear. When I left rocket science, I was offered a prestigious position for a banking institution, only to recognize that I loved science and education far more. So I left banking and I decided to be a part-time mathematics professor. But when I did that, the entire United States economy tanked. Nobody was hiring. And here I was, underemployed, struggling to pay my bills. And I almost let fear stop me again. But this time, I was armed with all these experiences, and something different happened this time. I remember sitting there, thinking, what am I going to do? And then I had my latest realization. Wait, I'm talented. If no one is hiring, why not hire myself? So that's what I did. I hired myself. I created my own educational entertainment company. First, I created my website with all the cool different science, technology, engineering, and math videos. Then, what I did is form the company specifically. I had to find out the difference between an S corporation and a C corporation. Next, what I did is I hired tutors. Then I wrote a book. Now my team and I are creating educational TV shows for network programming. I didn't know how to do any of this. You can reprogram your brain to override fear. If you name and reject your fear, reprogram your brain with different thoughts, and take action in direct opposition to your fear. If you do all these three things, guess what? You can do anything you set your mind to, even become a rocket scientist.